Rebound taken by Iguodala. Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. LeBron James with the rejection.
Cleveland, this is for you.
Come here to cleanse your soul. Yeah, 4-4 and go. That other get no. We got Sam Ryan time. This is a sports octagon. Sports for forever and beyond. Spending with Sam Ryan time. From the puck to the glove to the pigskins high. Share all of your thoughts, just let it ride. Down the baseline in the bleachers, or you gonna get denied. Yeah, share all of your thoughts, just let it ride. 4-4 and go. Come here to cleanse your soul. Yeah, it's 4-4 and go. Come here to cleanse your soul.
The Browns Super Bowl contenders.
Hey, listen, when we start talking about what wins Super Bowl, we talk Super Bowls, we talk about talent. The Browns, they have the talent. They have it.
We are live, baby.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
And goal. As you can see tonight, it's a duo. Ryan's got some stuff he's got to take care of, so tonight it's going to be Sam and Tom. Almost one away from Coach Butchko's wish, the Tom show. But yeah, tonight's going to be a good show. Listen, for everybody watching, this is going to be a nice pull you away from all of the political stuff going on out there, so we could talk about some local sports. I can understand. I know what today is. I know what everybody was supposed to do today. But just so you guys know ahead of time, we are not going to respond to any of it.
Nope, not tonight.
So tonight is about the student athletes. It's about Ashtabula County athletes, and we've got a lot to talk about. I guess first things first, I'm used to Ryan. Ryan's like the MC, man. He gets everything going. But I guess first things first, Tom, how was your weekend?
Oh, bro, weekend was good. It was a nice weekend. Halloween, man. Got to spend some time with the kids, or the kid. Excuse me, I don't have multiples. Just spent some time with the kid. Went over to Anthony Donahue's mother's house, Tish. She threw a little soiree. It was a nice little time. Got to chop it up with a friend of the show, Tony Williams. So that was fun. And,
there we go. There we go.
Yeah, always good talking with him. And great football mind there, man. He's a great football mind, and just love to talk to him. But, I mean, that was really it. I mean, Sunday was kind of a snoozer with the Browns game. So,
yeah, I mean, that was just ridiculously bad. But you know what? Going into the bye week, I kind of thought that's what was going on. So this weekend, we, it was Halloween. So we did the Halloween thing. Socially distanced Halloween is different. It's weird.
Oh, yeah.
Walking around one block, masked up. But, you do it for the kids. Kids had a good time. The baby was over it very, very quickly. I'm pretty sure that me and her mother were more amped up about her Jessie from Toy Story costume than she was, and she made it very apparent. But there's that day, and on Friday night we get to cover a classic right here in town. We get to watch a record get broken. PV does come out with the win. They remain undefeated in the regular season, but it was a lot of offense. There were some defensive stops in that game that I don't think anybody saw coming. The defenses really came alive on that side, both interception-wise and run-stopping-wise, and it was really just a fun game to start, to talk about and to cover, and Corlew Stadium has become like a second home out here to us, as well as, Lakeside Stadium, and where we're going this week, I cannot wait to return to, and that's Falcon Pride Stadium. I've said from the beginning, I think Falcon Pride Stadium it's much like Edgewood, actually, in that it has a very high school feel. It's intimate. It has a nice crowd support out there. Going to be super fun to cover that.
Oh, yeah, dude. It's going to be so much fun. I mean, a couple months ago, we weren't sure how many games we'd get to cover. You know what I mean? I remember sitting here with you and Ryan and just talking about, hey, like we got to get every game that we can, you know what I mean? Because how many are we going to realistically be able to cover? And dude, just all year, man, we've been able to cover some crazy good games and get to meet these athletic directors, coaches, kids, parents. And it's just had such a magical feel this season. This football season, in my mind, is the most special football season I think I've ever been a part of. Like, because I was in the band, I got to watch stuff, you know, and then just watching some stuff after I graduated. But this was just special, man. And, you know, I think tonight when we get into some stuff and we talk about the game we got to see, other games, I really think we're going to look back on this year with very fond memories for sure.
Well, you know, I think you bring up some good points there. One of the things that this year had that every other year does not is every week these athletes went into the game knowing this could be their last, because we're one flare up away from the season ender. And this is a year where teams had to get ready on the fly, shorten seasons, you know, a lot of stuff against them in an area that not too many teams are senior heavy. So, you know, we'll talk about some of the scores real quick. One of the biggest ones, I guess, we'll talk about, which is going to bring us to our first guest, is, you know, we'll go here. The week score for Jefferson and Conneaut. So this is two teams with two different, I guess, sets on their team leaders. You know, Conneaut has quite a few seniors, whereas Jefferson is a much younger based team. Outside of, you know, a couple big play seniors for Jefferson. But there was one underclassman who decided he was going to have a coming out party in here. And this is a guy early on in the year that when we went around and we got to look at all these players and all these teams practicing and getting ready, and Jefferson really had a different look because new coaches, they pretty much had a brand new team, you know, a lot of young guys, and you got to watch a new offensive coordinator in Brandon Hanna out there, who we know personally being Brandon Hanna. And I mean, I remember as I'm watching him, he's just killing this young guy out there. Busting his butt up and down the field. And I'm like, man, he's being real tough on him, which in turn turned into, after I talked to him at the end, he's like, I got to ride him. He's like, but this kid, you know, he's got talent. So the kid I'm talking about is none other than a guy who ends up being our week 10 player of the week. That's Grant Hitchcock. And Grant Hitchcock turns into, you know, goes in as a sophomore for to be a varsity quarterback in a town where football matters big time. And this week he has a big night in a 41-21 victory over a county foe in Conneaut, who we know has a bunch of guys on defense, including the county leader in tackles with over 100 and a bunch of fast guys. And somehow Grant, I was going between, you know, two names. They already call him G Money, so I'm going to call him G Easy because his game is so breezy. Grant Hitchcock is going to be our week 10 player of the week. And before we get him in here, he's going to get some highlight love, courtesy of 440 and goal. I'm telling you, man, G-Easy, because the game is so breezy. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me, Tom, and 440 to introduce you guys to Grant Hitchcock from the Jefferson Falcons. Grant, how you doing tonight, my good man?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good. Not as good as you did on Friday. How'd you like that music? A little Halloween theme there, right?
Yeah, that
you
was
get
good.
that? You get that feel?
Yeah.
So you guys go against the county foe this weekend. And one of the things, you know, in the beginning of the year, you're obviously taking your lumps. One thing that has remained, you know, consistent with you is your feet are dangerous.
Yeah.
So what did you have to put more work into this year, do you think? Do you think that the you know, the running game, or did you really have to concentrate in on that passing?
Yeah, I would say we had to work more with the passing because I feel like my running has always been there since like I started playing. So I just had to get better as a passer.
So have you always played quarterback, or did you start playing football as a different position?
No, I started in 7th grade and I just played quarterback since then.
Did you guys throw a lot in 7th grade, or was it more of a run-based system back then?
Probably like 70% run.
Okay. Yeah. So the typical Northeast Ohio ball. So you, so this year you guys get a new offensive coordinator and a guy who's got legend of his own in Brandon Hanna, who comes in and, I was telling the story of, Coach Hanna is, intense, right?
Yeah.
What are some of the things, you know, without giving away the seasoning to the chicken? What are some of the things that he's kind of helped you with, or I guess opened your eyes a little bit to? Because really, when we've watched you throughout this season, you know, the earlier games weren't as nice, passing wise to you, but again, your footwork was all there. But your passing has come around to the tune of, you threw for over 1,000 yards this year.
Yeah.
So what are some things that really he kind of honed in, or something that clicked?
I feel like just repping it more at practice, like just keep throwing and throwing until we just get it working like good.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Just like reps, I'd say.
So, you know, Tom, anything before I continue on? Because, you know, I'll talk to this kid for days.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I was waiting for a break in the action there to make it natural. But, yeah, so, Grant, you know, when I was talking to you a little bit pre-show, you know, we talked a little bit, you know, Coach Hanna comes in. He's now your offensive coordinator. And, you know, the plan at the beginning of the year was kind of, you know, pass a little bit more. But then, you know, another 4-4 goal player of the week, Danny Bruckman, kind of came on, and, you know, the run game started to work a little bit more. Can you talk about how kind of the run game developing the way it did kind of helped you develop as a passer during the season?
I'd say teams expect us to run more, so that like opens up, like if we do play action, they expect like the linebackers will come down, expect to like it be a run, and then we can just pass it right outside of them or like that.
Oh, nice, man. So I mean, when we talk about your stats for the year, I mean, you like Sammy said, you have over 1,000 yards passing. Right now, you're sitting at 1190 for the year. So I mean, some quarterbacks don't get that, you know, in their senior year when they've been playing quarterback for 4 years as a starter. So, what do you attribute your marked improvement from the beginning of the year to this point in the year to? Like what was the moment where it clicked for you that, you know, this is just second nature now? Because I'm watching that highlight video, brother, and I don't know if you saw me down in the corner down there, but like at one point I was like, oh my God.
It's natural.
Like, I mean, you were getting it into those windows, dude. Do you think that since you're also a defensive back, that also gives you a bit of a advantage being a quarterback, because you can kind of anticipate some stuff that you've seen because you do it?
Yeah, I'd say like most of the time when you play that position, you start to feel like, you know, like what the DBs are going to do. Because like I've been there, like that's where I've played football on defense as a DB, so I really know like what they're gonna do.
Nice, dude.
One of the things Tom talked about was, so you've got two rushing monsters on this offense. Yourself, even though you throw for over 1,000 yards, you rattle off 681 rushing yards as well. So the legs were working, but you've got a guy behind you who we we like to call him Sonic out here because the boy's fast. Danny Bruckman.
Yeah.
How much easier does that make the game for you, having a guy back there who can make big plays like that? And not just in the pass game either, because I see a lot where, you're following him on an RPO, and after they crash down on him, you've got Route 11 in front of you to run.
Yeah. I'd say it helps a lot, He certainly can do a lot for our team, and he is pretty fast too.
Yeah, hey, Sonic is a fast man. He's a bad man out there. You guys, this team is it's been really good watching you guys from the beginning until now. You guys have really improved by leaps and bounds. Not a whole lot of seniors on this team. I want to say 3 total. But leadership comes in all different 4.
Yeah, 4.
There's 4. So leadership comes in all kinds of different ways. Anybody that you kind of lean toward, or kind of, I guess leaned on when it comes to, this is a bad question, apparently. No.
Someone called me.
Anybody that you kind of leaned on or looked to for some leadership, especially in a year like this where you guys, let's face it, you guys had some tough losses. You guys were in a lot of games, but this happened, that happened. There's times where somebody's got to calm you down, and it's you got to have somebody. Is there anybody you could think of off the top of your head? Is that me or
Coach Hannah? He's helped me a lot, and just like
Coach Hannah.
Oh, I'd say Coach Hannah, because he's helped me a lot, as in like just like getting to where I am now, and like just becoming a better quarterback, I'd say.
Yeah, now you knew Coach Hannah from before, correct?
Yeah.
Because one of the things that we've noticed with Ashtabula County athletes is if you're good on one sport, you tend to be a multi-sport athlete. So, Grant, what else do you play, my good man?
Basketball and track.
Basketball and track. So you got basketball. Well, you know what? Before we get to that, you play offense and you play defense.
Sure.
You're a quarterback, so I'm assuming I know the answer to this question. But which one do you like playing more?
Well, me and Tom talked about this. Not by a lot, but I would say offense. I do like playing DB.
Still getting that. Yeah, because that, big interception on the 25-yard line against Conneaut this week, you looked as hype as anybody. And let me tell you, Coach Hannah gets hype. Yeah, I'm sure you know.
Yeah.
That's the understatement of the year.
Our co-host Ryan always asks one particular question that I think is a fantastic question. And unfortunately, he had some other stuff he had to take care of tonight, so he couldn't be here. So I'm going to take his place. And I probably should have given him the update on this, but I didn't. I forgot. If there's always one play, and you're a quarterback, so you get to hear all the plays. There's always one play that when Coach Hannah throws that in there, you're like, it's game time. This is me. I'm ready to go. You don't have to give us the whole thing, but give us kind of an overlook on what it is. What play do you hear get called in and it's time to get busy?
I like when he calls like a play, like an outside zone play for me, especially to run it, just to run outside.
That's great. That's great. So Grant, like I said, it's been great watching you since the beginning. I really think you've turned into one of the county's most promising up and coming passers. And I'm not shooting smoke. That's legit. You put up a really great year. You're a sophomore on a team that's really learning. I think you guys are going to be great next year. Watching you, like I said, you still ran for 700 yards, man. You accounted for like 1,900 yards of offense, my good guy. But one of the things I look forward to is you're a bit of a hooper. What position you play?
Point guard.
Point guard. Are you a slasher or do you like to shoot that thing?
I'm more of a slasher.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, Grant. The other biggest question we ask, and Ryan's not here to pump you up, but listen, just understand you're a quarterback. You have to have intuition. Who do you have to thank for all these yards that you got this year? They're big. They eat the most at the team dinners. Who do you think it is?
The linemen.
Oh, there it is.
Grant, Tom, do you have anything else?
Yeah. We actually, there's one more question that we ask on air. And Grant, what's your t-shirt size?
Medium.
Medium.
Back to medium we go.
9 mediums, 1 large this year. Dear Lord.
All right, Grant Hitchcock, ladies and gentlemen, with absolutely phenomenal outing. I want to thank you for coming on the show. Make sure you keep this link and keep all your directions, because I'm sure we're going to have you on during the hoop season too, because I heard you can play a little bit.
I hope so.
All right, Grant Hitchcock, thank you so much, buddy.
Thanks,
Grant.
Great kid.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's one of the most fun parts of this show and doing what we do is you get to watch, the transition of, of these kids. And he goes out in the beginning of the year and, Jefferson took some lumps this year. They're in that god-awful conference from Youngstown, which, hopefully I don't get in too much trouble. But guess what? I'm going to keep banging that drum.
Bang it, baby. You bang it.
Listen, I'm going to keep hold on. I'm going to keep banging that drum. So the real conference out here needs to be, and I'm going to say it every week until I get a cease and desist letter, probably from an athletic director. Jefferson, Grand Valley, PV, Conneaut, and Edgewood. That needs to be the conference.
God, that's such a great conference, man.
That too needs to be in there. We don't need to go to Youngstown. We don't need to go to Chagrin Valley. We don't need to go into Lake County. We'll take our 5 guys, our 5 teams, and let us play each other, and we can take anybody who wants to come in here and take their lumps. They can do it.
Oh,
now,
yeah.
the two schools that are a little bit bigger and they want, they have some other questions. That's great. Then you just make sure you schedule Lakeside and Geneva every year. I think it would be a great thing for Lakeside to be in that conference because our county produces good football, and that's where it should be played. We should be playing each other here no matter what. Because if this year has shown nothing else, I think what it shows is that Ashtabula County cares about its county players.
Oh, yeah, in a big way, man. And the competition out here is just so insane. I mean, we just talked to a kid that has almost 1,200 yards passing. We have a kid that we're going to talk to later that did something extraordinary passing last Friday. We've got a kid from St. John who played 2 less games than everyone else, passed for 1,000 yards. We've got a kid from Conneaut who
passed for 1,600.
He might be one of my favorite people I've ever met. That kid was hyped when he was here.
Listen, 1,600 yards, and he's in second place.
Yeah.
We got a kid right here in the county that's a top 15 passer, and maybe even more. I don't know, because we're still looking into this, but he's a top 15 passer in the state, in the entire state of Ohio. This kid's throwing. So that's what I'm saying. There's no reason. Ashtabula can do it. And you know what? There is an existing conference already that really all those teams. I would love nothing more than Conneaut, Edgewood, Grand Valley, PV, and Jefferson to all be in that conference that PV's in, that Northern Athletic Conference. It just makes sense. Because what sense does it make going all the way down to Youngstown or going all the way to Chagrin Valley or all the way to Pepper Pike? It doesn't. It just doesn't. We got good football right here. Let's do it right here. Let's play Northern Athletic football. Northeast Ohio, Ashtabula's own schedule.
Yeah. And you got another team that goes to PA to play football, man. They did. They did last year. They went to play football last year in PA.
Yeah, like it's like, they keep saying if you put it in the air, well, I'm putting it in the air right now. Ashtabula teams should be playing Ashtabula teams. We don't need Chagrin to give us our conference. You should have to come here to play our conference. If anything, it should be called the Ashtabula County Conference, Ashtabula Valley Conference. That's right, baby.
Ashtabula County Conference.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'll get on my soapbox. I'm going to keep doing it too until I get yelled at for doing it. But we got a couple other games to talk about. One game really particular that we're going to get into, I guess, just really quickly is the PV Lakers remaining undefeated over the Edgewood Warriors. So PV comes in to Corlew Stadium. They win 38-27. The Lakers go home with a win, and a really, really well played game. A really, really well played game. Hey, Coach, I'm with it. Let's do it. I'm telling you, we're going to keep it up. We're going to get some motion on this. Ashtabula County teams should be in an Ashtabula County conference. We can do it here. We're not dependent upon nobody. We can schedule. I understand all that stuff. Let's get in here. And guys, it can't just stop here. We need community support from this. Mm-hmm. Not just here. We need Geneva. We need Ashtabula area. We need Conneaut area. We need Buckeye. We need Jefferson. We need PV, which is Andover. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, we need everybody involved. We need to say, hey, guys, our kids should be playing our kids. Let's stay in the county and make people come here. Let's do it. Start the trend here, folks. Start the trend.
Get a hashtag going.
Yeah, hashtag Ashtabula County. But speaking of Ashtabula County, there is somebody who really does deserve his own hashtag, and that's this kid that we've got to watch the entire season. And on Friday, we got to capture a truly special moment for a truly special kid who we've gotten, by the grace of God, we've gotten to know that throughout this year. Go out there, and I'm not sure. I got to look. I'm pretty sure his completions are going to be on the county list too. So we are, of course, talking about Zach Winchell. So in that Friday night game, he broke the Ashtabula County record, which was a 30-year-old record from 1988 that was held by Sean Freeman. Mm-hmm. Another tip in the jar is the fact that Sean Freeman was actually a coach for the opposing team. So it was truly a magical moment that we actually got the privilege of catching. And Zach Winchell, we're trying to do something a little bit special here for him, as much as we can. So we put together a little highlight reel for him and for you guys to enjoy of Zach Winchell getting busy. The gunner, the gunslinger, 7-Eleven. Hold on. Here it comes. Here we go. And there it is. Ladies and gentlemen.
That is going to be... That's a moment right there, folks. That's why we do this, right here, right now. To see that, Zach Winchell and Sean Freeman. What a great moment. Doesn't matter the record, it just matters what you do. And of course, you should give that ball to his mom.
Man, I'm telling you.
Dang, man.
It's unreal. Listen, if you guys can't see that, we got some gear to show off before we bring in the man of the hour right here. Without any further ado, let's bring in the man, the myth, the legend. You guys call him Zach. I call him the gunslinger. That's Zach Winchell from Edgewood High School, ladies and gentlemen.
Zach Winchell.
There he is, Zach Winchell. How's it going, Zach?
Good, man. How are you?
Good, man. You know, we got a chance to see something special. You had a really great night. You know, what's it like being out there? You get a shot, you know, on your home turf in front of your home crowd with one last game to go on the season. You got to break, you know, you got a shot at breaking a 30-year-old record. Some of your coaching staff weren't even alive when that record was put up. What does that feel like going out there in front of your home turf getting to do that?
No, it was a great moment. It really was. I mean, yeah, we lost, but I mean, it was just a fun time. It was a great game. And I was really happy to share those moments with some of those brothers that I call for life.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Yeah, and one of the cool things is if you know, if I'm not mistaken, I believe Isaiah Harris is the recipient of the cap for the record. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Isaiah Harris is one of those guys that you played with since, you know, you picked up, you know, since you guys have been young.
Mm-hmm. You're cutting out.
So,
yeah. Go ahead, Tom.
So you played with Isaiah since you were young. You got the four amigos. You've got you've got Zay, you've got Jake, and you've got BISBEY. So how special was that being on the field, the four amigos, and he's gone. He didn't like
it. Looks like he was having a little trouble with the audio.
So real quick, Sam, you did show it on the screen, but it's going in the 440 and gold vault here. You guys can see we got a football here, single season pass record. We got a little signature from Zach and Coach Butchko. I had to get Butch in there. And that signature is a pro signature, right?
Listen, I mean, that guy's definitely done a signature a couple times in his life. No, you know what? It was really something else to start this journey the way we did, and get a chance. We'll let him get set up here. All right, hold on. He looks good. So there we are.
Hey, yeah, I know everyone was cut now.
Oh, okay. So the one of the things we were talking about was, you know, you and Isaiah have gotten to play since you guys were young. So, you know, it was really, you know, a kind of a special moment to see that fitting end to the season where your record gets to be shared with the guy that you've, you know, I mean, you guys are like brothers.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah. So talk about it, man. Like I want to know what was going through your head when, like, did you know on that pass that it was going to happen?
No,
like when you
not
threw
at
that
all.
pass. No.
Did you have?
I knew I was getting close. Close, but I didn't really know. I didn't know really which one it was going to be.
Okay.
Did you? What was it like? So one of the things I've always complimented you on, Zach, is I think you're cool as a cucumber in under any circumstances. You always have been. You know, it shows on the highlight reel. You know, bad snaps, this, that, fumbles, whatever. You pick it up and you act like there's not a defensive end coming to rip your face off. You just throw that ball like it's fine.
Real quick, sorry to interrupt you, Sammy, but we just got verification here. Zach Winchell did you know you are in the top 100 in the country for passing yards?
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't really know for sure. It was like people were telling me that, but I didn't really know for sure. I had to look it up myself.
Okay,
that's incredible.
It just came in, and I was
no,
like,
that's
crap, I gotta.
So a top 100 passer right here on the right here on Little 440 and goal. But just really quick, Zach, did you feel like there was maybe a little bit of extra pressure on this game? Because what I kind of saw in that game is honestly, after you broke the record, and I think you handled it like a gentleman, which is what I always expected you. I think you handle yourself very, very well, particularly amongst your age group and your peers. I think you handle yourself very well. But I noticed you kind of like loosened up a little bit and got back into Zach Winchell's ball game.
Yeah, no, I was a little tense when before everything, because we were down and we were starting just to move the football right there when I broke it, and I was like, "Yo, we gotta go." I was like, "Forget the record, forget everything else. I want to play. Let's go. We can't kill this momentum." And coach was just telling me, "Enjoy it, Zach. Enjoy it." I was like, "No, let's get on the field. Let's go. We can't kill what we just started. We gotta go."
You know what? That is I'm laughing because that is so incredible for you to have that much wherewithal and that much competitiveness and that much gamesmanship. One of the things, so you just had your best season of all time as a football player, okay?
Yeah.
You're a junior, so you are 97 yards, just so you know, away from the career average. So you're like two Isaiah passes and a Bell. away from breaking the all-time record for career next year. But a lot of other guys around here play, sports year round. I know that you've had a little bit of some issues with the knee. Is that something you're going to kind of take care of, or are you playing basketball? What are you trying to do?
I'm definitely going to take the winter season off. I definitely don't think I'm going to be playing anything this winter. I'm going to figure everything out with my knee, rest, and do what I got to do just to get back in the weight room on the field, do what I got to do.
One of the things we kind of touched on before we got on here is you are an athlete, and we saw spurts of it all throughout the year when it really, really needed to happen. Yet you can run, and you can actually hear. You can hear me during that game cast after you ran. I said, "Zach, stop it! You get back in the pocket where you belong." But one of the things we talked about is your throw the rabbit 4 times. One of the things we talked about was this year you had to kind of change your game, I guess, a little bit, or focus a little bit more on pocket presence. And what do you think that did to your game as a whole?
I mean, I definitely wasn't a pocket passer. I mean, even since my freshman year. I mean, I like to get out of the pocket. I like to move a little bit. But I think it definitely shaped my game better. I think it definitely made me better due to the injury that I had in week 2, that for the rest of the season, I really wasn't able to move real well. I had to stay in the pocket for most of the time. And I moved here and there when I really had to. But, I mean, thanks to my alignment, I really stayed in the pocket a whole lot and was able to complete a lot of balls.
Yeah, did you feel like, when something like that happens, because a lot of times, particularly for quarterbacks, I feel like your legs are your escape route. It's the in case of emergency, break the glass.
Right.
But with you, it really was an emergency only type of thing. So did you have to develop more trust, or, did you already have that trust? Because I know for a guy who doesn't stay in the pocket a lot of times, as soon as that spidey sense goes off, you get out of there. But did you have to learn to kind of tame that and just all right, trust the process type of deal?
Yeah, no, I definitely spent more time in the pocket than I've ever have in the past. I mean, I was always antsy when I was younger. I mean, even my freshman year, as soon as I caught the football, I was trying to run out of the pocket. And coach always told me, just to slow it down and think about it. And now that I'm a little bit older, I kind of put that into play and, just waited on it, waited for something to open up. You know, I mean, stayed back there and was able to distribute the football pretty well. So.
Yeah, you found, you know what, one of the things that's a great with you too is you have the ability to get the ball downfield, but I you know, you're a bit like a surgeon. So maybe next year we'll call him Dr. Winchell, I think is what we'll go with, because he's a bit like a surgeon out there where you like to take. I think that's what we're going to stick with. Dr. Winchell next year. I'm going to page him overhead that way. Dr. Winchell, as you, you know, surgically pick apart the defenses, you know, you really do read your routes and you read your, you know, you read your wide receivers better than really anybody I've seen all year. It's been fantastic watching you. And, I mean, you know, your coaches had nothing but great things to say. And I said, there's no way this kid's that good. And my God, did you surprise?
I mean, like with the wide receivers that I had, like I truly believe that all my guys can get open. I don't really think anyone like one-on-one can guard any of my guys. So I'm going to trust them over that DB every time. I'm going to trust my throw over that DB every time. I'm gonna throw it to where my guys are gonna be. They're gonna catch it and they're gonna go score. They're gonna go get 15, 20 yards. I mean,
yeah. I mean, and you talk about just trusting the guys around you. And I mean, it's probably really easy to trust them, especially when you have like a guy you've had that connection with forever in Zay, but also BPB, Mr. Bisbey, who has over 1,000 all-purpose yards on the year. So not only can you trust him to, you know, get open in the receiving lane, but you can count on him out of the backfield to just open stuff up for you,
right,
all the time. So talk about that. Talk about Brian and how Brian kind of has helped shape this season for you.
I mean, Brian was a big help to our offense. I mean, because Brian ran the football. Mm-hmm. I mean, everyone knows. I mean, Brian ran the football. He blocked for me, and he went out and caught passes. I mean, he did a lot for our offense, and you always, I mean, especially with how spread our offense is, like when we sent him out there, that's a guy that's not really, you don't really like think about the running back going out and catch passes, especially like in the football that we play in. Like, just like you made the comment earlier about it's normally run around here. I mean, if you already have 5 wide receivers out there on the field, are you going to expect the running back to go out for a pass? Probably not. So, I mean, when they have to count for him, that's going to leave someone else open in a different lane. So, or you just don't count him and he gets wide open and he busts up the sideline for 20, 30 yards.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean,
yeah, you know, it's a good way of keeping them honest. The linebackers really can't get in your face because, you know, you were very good about dumping that ball over top of people's heads this year. You know, like I said, you know, Zach, it's been from week 1 to this, you know, last week, you know, watching you has been an absolute. I mean, if you would have told me we were going to see 2,000 yards passing this year, I would have thought that meant all the quarterbacks combined. Mm-hmm. I mean, that's just how I thought. You guys run it's a different brand of football out there in Warrior Country. But you know, I'm really happy that we're going to get to see you again next year, because for those of you watching, I don't know if you paid attention much, but that said EHS class of 22, which means you got a whole nother year to deal with Dr. Winchell out there on the field. So Dr. Winchell's office hours will begin again in August of next year. Get ready.
Those begin next week.
2,000 yards during a pandemic after a shortened year. You know, and you know what? You had some really big games. It's not like you got all these against, you know, you had some games where you had a lot less passing yards than you should have. So honest to God, you probably could have had like 3,000. Who knows? You know what I mean?
Like from the first game, like against Perry, I only threw for 29 yards in that game. To my last game, I mean, I threw for 343 yards against PB. I mean, it was just a big difference, and I mean, our line stepped up. I mean, the line progressively got better over the season. Mm-hmm. Our wide receivers got better over the season, but I mean, it was really just a fun time this year. I mean, these guys are great that are around me, and it's sad to let some of the seniors go, but that means we just got to rebuild and build some freshmen and sophomores up. I mean, and get some more guys out. I mean, we just got to improve.
I can tell you what, there are some probably about 10 defensive coordinators right now that are scurrying furiously trying to figure out how they're going to keep the doctor from surgically taking them apart next year. Because I'm sure a lot of them tried to do that this year, and it didn't go well. Zach, you've been on the show. You've been a great athlete. You've been a stand-up guy and a heck of a leader all year. Next year, you're going to be a senior. And for those of you younger athletes that are watching this now, or the younger athletes that are going to watch us at a later time, this is what you want to do. This is the competitive nature you want to have. This is the gamesmanship you want to have, and this is the drive. This is a man that, worked with quarterbacks from around the county last year to learn to get better. We took a guy named, I believe it's Ryland Davidson, is correct? Worked with a guy named Ryland Davidson who's playing, ball at the college level, and they're throwing together and getting better. These are the steps, because Zach will tell you, and I think you can agree with me, while what we see is great, it's the stuff that we don't see is what makes you, correct?
Yeah, I mean, you just got to do a lot of work in the offseason. You really got to, and not just better yourself, better your teammates. Because if you just better yourself and better no one else, you're not really going to get better. You got to better everyone around you.
100%, man.
Spoken like a true leader. Zach, I want to thank you for coming on the show, man.
Anytime.
Yes, man. I'm looking forward to next year. We're going to keep an eye on, we'll call it Record Watch 2021. The surgeon is in. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Zach Winchell. This is your Ashtabula County single season record as a junior, ladies and gentlemen. And he's already got over 4,000 yards passing in the career. So I'm going to take you off the screen real quick because we're going to let that highlight reel, because I think they need to see it again, because, I mean, it's surgical out there, man.
It is. Hey, Zach, thank you so much, brother. It's been a pleasure talking with you. Pleasure interviewing you. Hey, man, anything you need from us, hit us up, man. Me, Sam, and Ryan. Heck yeah. All right, dude. Have a good one.
See ya.
Here we go. And there it is. Ladies and gentlemen.
That is going to be... That's the moment right there, folks. That's why we do this, right here, right now. To see that, Zach Winchell and Sean Freeman. What a great moment. Doesn't matter the record, it just matters what you do. And Of course, he's giving that ball to his mom.
Yeah, it's
it gets better.
I don't know how much more I can say about that. Like to be able to cover, we got a 30-year-old record this year that got broken. This year we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We have 4 quarterbacks in Ashtabula County that threw for over 1,000 yards this year.
Yeah, that's
we have
nuts, man.
4 quarterbacks that throw for over 1,000 and only 2 running backs that ran for over 1,000. Now, I'm going to throw a big giant asterisk next to that because there's one guy that missed it by 1 yard.
1 yard.
He missed it by 1 yard, and that's the bowling ball over there at Lakeside. Jay-Sean Sanders ends the year with 999 yards rushing. Another sophomore. That kid's a sophomore. Lakeside also has a big rusher over there in AJ Raffa.
Yeah.
AJ Raffa has a big year over there too. So you're going to have to watch out for him as well. There's a lot of good athletes right now in this county. There's a lot of good. I mean, it's unreal. Going to cover another set of scores. We'll talk about the rest of those real quick. Lakeside at 21, Lutheran East 0. The extracurriculars, I'm not really going to get too involved in there because it got me all hot and bothered before. I will just say this, Lakeside, that's a good win.
Yeah.
To that other team, I hope we don't see them play in this county again.
Yeah.
Followed by Geneva 42 and Grand Valley 7. Geneva going to end their regular season undefeated. Not undefeated. They're gonna end the season at 8-2 with 1 loss in the regular season. And that Geneva team really, really deserves as much kudos as anybody's ever gotten. That was a fun football team to watch. We had the pleasure of covering a ton of it early on in the season. Getting to see the likes of Ben SCIBONA, Charlie Taylor, Brady Pete, big defenders like Zane Francis, Dylan Hamilton and Cole Smith. I have that correct now. Yes. I said by the end of the year I'd get it together. You've got the big man out there in Matt Krasinski, who is just, he's a barn, dude. Like, I don't know. And he's super tall. His arms are super long. I don't know how you get around that guy. You're going to want to keep your eyes peeled for guys like that because we've got a first and second team coming out. But it was really just a blast getting to watch that Geneva team. And they run a weird offense. There's nothing else, no other way to describe it. It's a weird offense. They run that wing tee. Everybody thinks they can stop the wing tee until it comes time to stop the wing tee.
Everyone thinks they have the answer to it. Like our buddy John.
He swears
he's a great football mind, man. John knows football, and he told us, listen, I'm going to tell you right now how you stop that wing tee. And I'll tell you what, you think you know how, but no one knows how, man. And it's just, we got a mad scientist in John Butchko. We got another mad scientist in Chip Sorber who just knew how to run that thing to perfection with Matt Pete helping him out, man. Oh,
well, listen, my favorite thing about Geneva this year, watching that type of football. So Geneva there is no glitz or glamour in that. They say, hey, guess what? One of these 3 guys is going to run the ball. Good luck. And that's what they do. And they did it so well. They did it so well that there was nothing you could do there. So, again, shout out to our guys over at Geneva. It was a blast covering you. Next year, we're hoping to get back in there at some point somehow. As this year progresses, we're kind of going to play it by ear, for a lot of things. I can tell you that we will be covering basketball. When and where and for who is going to be, to be determined yet. But we would love to get you. And maybe if we don't get you at home, we'll get you away. because those Geneva Eagles, they got a lot of talent in Geneva. There's a ton of talent over there. That 8-2 record, that record that they had, just so you know, would have gotten them in the playoffs anyway. Yes. Whether everybody got in there this year or not, they had the points to get in. So Geneva earned their spot. They got it stolen from them last year. This year they were going. They were going to be in there. So, shout out to the Geneva Eagles, Charlie Taylor, Ben SCIBONA, Brady Pete, the whole offensive line, that really, really tough, hard-nosed defense. You guys all deserve a hand. You guys had a heck of a year, a way to end it in a dominant fashion. Grand Valley, another county team. We are hoping to get a much better relationship with them next year. It was nothing other than purely time constraints this year that stopped that. So we're Ashtabula County based, and we're going to keep it that way for these kids. We're going to try and get everybody involved. And that's how we got involved with our friends down in the South in PV, who, there's another group of kids that are just phenomenal athletes. Coaches would kill to have a class like that. And Tyler Bean, Wilkinson, Knowles, Ray, Verba. The list goes on and on and on. They've got the toughest, the biggest offensive line in the county. You know what I mean? And you're going to see plenty of that stuff this year. It really has been a fun year overall. I can't express enough. Let's go ahead and throw some stats out here, Tom.
Let's do it, brother. Let's do it.
So we'll start with the offensive statistical leaders going into week 11, which is the end of the regular season. So this is your end of regular season statistical leaders. Keep in mind, we do have one more game this week. So 2 teams are going to get additional. We have Zach Winchell, obviously, with 2,365 yards, which is ridiculous, followed by Jake Slayton, Grant Hitchcock, and Seth Thomas, all passing the 1,000-yard mark. Tyler Bean getting 829 yards in a season where, let's be real, he only played 6 quarters of football, because they were always ahead by so much. That's pretty impressive. Sean Allgood comes in at, midway through the year. Siebenek had put up quite a bit by that time, and Ben SCIBONA is, a running style quarterback.
Yeah, and Sam, we talk about the numbers, we talk about how impressive the passing yards are, but what can't be ignored is the efficiency. So out of these 8 starting quarterbacks, 5 of them have a QBR over 85. And for those of you who don't know what QBR is, it's your quarterback rating. It shows how effective you are essentially at being a quarterback. And anything north of 80 is pretty impressive at the high school level. And we've got 5 of these guys. So I'm not a math guy, so I would say it's about like 75 or 80% are above very efficient. So passing.
Well, yeah, and you look at a guy like Tyler Bean.
Tyler Bean, oh my God, 138.98.
Yeah, he's 14 touchdowns and one interception. That interception doesn't come to the end of the year. So, that's, not a lot of yards, but just absolutely phenomenal stats. And then we go on to the rushers, and Sonic the Hedgehog, he must have had all 5 Chaos Emeralds this year, because he goes for 1,486 yards with 20 touchdowns. Jefferson has got themselves a running back. Followed by the F-150 out there in Geneva. That's Charlie Taylor with 1,140. He gets that on only 140 carries. With 17 touchdowns. And then Ja'Shawn Sanders just missing 1,000 yards with 999 on 150 with 11. Ja'Shawn Sanders is the lone, underclassman on that list outside on the top 5.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. Ja'Shawn Sanders and Zach Rice are both sophomores. So, those guys are apt to be our leaders next year. And the biggest thing with Charlie Taylor that you have to take into account is he has 1,000 yards this year. Okay. 1,140 in an offense that has 3 other guys over 500 yards.
Yeah.
Ben SCIBONA has 600. Brady Pete had somewhere in the neighborhood of like 587 or 588. There's everybody runs the ball. Everybody runs the ball. And somehow Charlie Taylor ends up finding a way to get, over 1,000.
Yeah, it just insane from the running backs, man. I mean, we talk about, Brian BISBEY, like going down the list. Brian BISBEY, 778 rushing yards, 10 touchdowns. Zach Rice, you talked about him. I call him Batman. Doing well. Grant Hitchcock, a quarterback that's in our top 8 rushers.
Yeah, the top our bottom 2 are quarterbacks.
Yeah. And Ben SCIBONA, man. I mean, Ben SCIBONA, 6'4", and he runs like a gazelle. He reminds me of Bradley Zimmer from the Cleveland Indians, that outfielder that when he was out there, he just like his strides were just insane. Ben SCIBONA, man, he's one of the athletes, like obviously, like, for us, we're gonna miss all these kids that are graduating, but SCIBONA, I'm really gonna miss, watching either him in person or his highlights, man, because that kid, in addition to all these other kids, just a very special player and such a great kid, man. And Patty Walker, he plays defense as well. We'll get into Ben SCIBONA's contributions on defense.
Yeah, because he is an absolute phenom on both sides of the ball. But we're going to end it here with, Tellis Andrews as our county's number 1 receiver, who misses 1,000 yards by, 33 yards. He was so close, but he does get 10 touchdowns. Followed by Isaiah Harris with 830 and 6 touchdowns. Keep in mind, Isaiah Harris misses a significant portion of this season due to injury. Trent Hodge from those Jefferson Falcons with 645, in an offense that really came alive in the second half of the season. And then David DeSalvatore. And David DeSalvatore has 32 receptions for 587. And it is worth mentioning David DeSalvatore did that in 8 games because that's all St. John played. David DeSalvatore, I firmly believe, would have been closer to 1,000 had they had a couple more games. Really just a phenomenal year for offensive players here in Ashtabula County. It really has been from the beginning to the end. But we're not going to forget about the defensive guys, because there's a guy I'm really excited to talk about, because I called him out last week. I gave him a task, and I'll be doggone if he doesn't make it. And that is a guy by the name of Anthony Nunes from Conneaut. Makes the difference for the game in for Conneaut. 100.5 total tackles on the year, leading the pack. And for those of you guys who don't know, the way that total tackles are calculated on this show is solo tackles, tackles for losses, and sacks all count for 1. Those are all 1 full tackle. Assists are counted at half. So if you get 2 assists, that counts for 1 tackle. Okay?
0.5. Yeah.
So there's a lot of guys out there that, depending on how the stats look like they had more tackles, but through that algorithm that we're doing, Anthony Nunes, 100.5 tackles, followed by Devin the Machine Mercilliot with 90.5. Savion, I'm everywhere on the field, Colbert. AJ, the fastest linebacker in the city, Rafa with 81. Jacob, for whom the bell tolls, from Edgewood at 76. Lane Herman of Conneaut, Zach Rice of Conneaut, and Zane Francis. Those guys round out the year with just a fantastic outing for the tacklers on defense.
Oh yeah. And we'll move on to the tackles for loss. Oh my gosh. I mean, look at this list here.
It's ridiculous.
So, Anthony Donahue from Lakeside.
Big A.
Plays everywhere on the defensive line. He's in on every play. 14 tackles for a loss. Followed by Troy Peterson with 13 and Seth Enos with 13. Okay, so you got Bash Brothers there from Edgewood. And then Tellis Andrews, who not only shows up in the receiving category as a leader, as the county leader for receivers, but he's in the top 5 for tackles for loss with 12, tying David DeSalvatore of St. John with 12. Wade Woodworth from Jefferson coming in with 10. And then, Patty, we told you we'd talk about him. Ben SCIBONA showing up at that spot that he plays on defense and just 9.5 tackles for loss. Not only does he have to orchestrate that Geneva Eagle offense, but he's a huge part of that defensive unit for Jefferson with 9.5 tackles for loss. And then Sam.
Geneva, brother.
Yes, Geneva, sorry. And then AJ Raffa, fastest linebacker in the city, 9 tackles for a loss. Super special, man. God, this is a great
man. AJ Raffa, all juice Raffa, baby. Because he's ready to go, man. So we'll go into the sack category, and that's going to be Lane Herman, who we owe an apology because we butchered his name for half the year. But one thing he butchered was other opposing quarterbacks with 8 sacks on the year. Lane Herman, well done. Wade Woodworth from Jefferson High School, and then ending the year with 5. Big Bad Troy Peterson, 13 tackles for losses and 4 sacks. By the way, those stats are separate. So that means on 17 occasions he's making backfield plays this year. Troy Peterson, who is the size of a barn. I mean, he's a big man. He's a big guy and a heck of an athlete. Garrett Siebenek, 4 sacks this year after switching over to the defensive side midway through the year. There's nothing else that can be said. And also, Garrett Siebenek is not somebody you want to meet anyway either, because that kid's huge. We've got 7 people tied with 3 sacks. And now we move over to the defensive backs.
The interceptions, man. So Mason Inman came up, and like Kelly Summers just said, the game-changing interception at Edgewood. Mason Inman gets his 6th interception of the season. Wyatt Fuderick from Geneva gets 4. And then Jimmy Timonier, freshman, doesn't play in all the games initially, and then comes on in a big way towards the midway to the end point of the season, has the game changer against Orange, and just continues to make big plays for Buzz Edwards in the defense, ends the year with 4 interceptions. That's a name we're going to be calling a lot.
Yes. I think that's somebody you need to watch. You need to circle.
You do.
Because
there were 7, just like sacks, 7 tied with 3, 7 people tied with 3 interceptions. 7 and 3 seems to be the number.
Yeah, a lot of people doing some work this year. You know, it's a great year. Great year. There's a couple guys that are going to put themselves on the record list for the all-time counties this year. Not just Zach Winchell, a couple guys throughout here with receptions and all kinds of things going to get on there. But one of the things, so we got to push out. This is our game of the week this week, our only game to cover this week, and that is going to be a South County Classic. PV Lakers, Jefferson Falcons, Friday night, 6:45. It's going down at Falcon Pride Stadium. And for those of you who don't know, this is a rivalry that is older than a lot of people realize. I mean, these guys, you got to understand the geography, alone on this. Jefferson and PV are right there. Both parts, they're both our South County portions. These guys matter. A lot of these guys can remember, the coaches, the parents, the, uncles, cousins, brothers, remember the validity of this rivalry. So it's going to be a great game. It's a really dynamic offense versus a very large, strong offense, and defensive guys that are very, very strong. This is going to be a match.
So to extrapolate on that, Kelly comes in with some heat here. Relatives on each team. Your starting quarterback for Jefferson, Grant Hitchcock, is going against his cousin, Andrew Root, who's a defensive back for Pymatuming Valley. That's a huge matchup right there. That's huge. So it's a battle right there. Like, it's family versus family.
Used to coach at Jefferson.
Yes.
So
it's all over.
It is. It's one big wheel. This game I anticipate going to be an absolute, in the words of our great co-host, barn burner. I can't wait to watch this. Gonna go ahead and give my player of the game for both sides right now. For the PV Lakers, I think the player of the game for them is going to be, I haven't called him all year, I'm going to say Jonah Wilkerson. Jonah Wilkerson did a little bit of everything in the last game. The dude is everywhere on the field. He's an absolute monster. And I think that's who I'm going with, Jonah Wilkerson, number 23, part of the PV3. That's going to be the guy for PV. On the Jefferson side of the ball, there's a guy that I've been waiting for him to go over the top and really make his mark on the year this year. And so far, Bruckman, I know Sonic is going to do his thing. I know that G-Easy, Grant Hitchcock, is going to do his thing. I know that Trent is going to get his. But there's a guy named Jacob Sabo. Jacob Sabo is going to be my call for the player of the week for Jefferson. I think that kid is going to have like 10 solo tackles this week. Jacob Sabo.
Hey, those aren't bad picks, my guy. I'm gonna go PV first. My player of the game pick. It's his last game. He wants to go out. He wants to, make all the memories he can, and that is Tyler Mean Bean. Gonna go out there, and he's an athlete. He's gonna impact on both sides of the ball. He laid some nasty hits against Edgewood.
Yes, he did.
Threw some nasty passes and ran very well against Edgewood. I think he continues that into his final game. Jefferson wise, I think my player of the game pick is going to be Trent Hodge because Hitchcock going against some family members, going against one of the best defensive backs in the county in Mason Inman, and Hodge wants to continue his success into next year, continue the momentum he's garnered with Hitchcock, and it's going to be a great game from Trent Hodge. I say 7 receptions, 110 yards, 1 touchdown, and I think that's really going to be just a great matchup for Hodge to really differentiate himself going into next year.
Yeah, so I think that's going to be the big. I think those are great picks. So that's our big matchup of the year. But we're going. So that's going to end our high school year. That's going to be our final game this year. And we'll do a show next week and we'll cover it. Next week we're going to be talking about first and second all county players. So we have our own list that we have put together for first team quarterback, running back, wide receiver, all the way through, as well as defensive players. There's going to be a first team and a second team. But on Saturday, we are going to be covering a game that is very big in the county as well. So live from Memorial Stadium in Geneva, it says 3 p.m. That is incorrect. It is 2:45 kickoff time. We are going to cover the varsity Buckeye Gray versus the varsity Madison White Super Bowl. Kickoff is going to be at 2:45, not 3 p.m. So that means we will be there starting live coverage at about 2:30. Both of these teams are undefeated. I got a chance to cover Buckeye Gray not too long ago, and they were fantastic. I'm telling you, Edgewood has got some athletes coming up on both squads. So that's going to be a heck of a lot of fun. So for those of you on Saturday, it's really worth paying attention to because these are the guys that are going to be in junior high. And before you know it, these are going to be the guys that are going to be winning the player of the week awards on this show.
Yeah. It's a little preview of the future here. And these kids They work super hard all year. Football at that age, man, it's super special to watch, super special to be a part of as a parent, as a like an uncle, you know what I mean, that kind of thing. And I just can't I can't wait to watch that, because unfortunately I won't be there because of work.
Yeah,
damn that work schedule. You know what I mean? But I can't wait to watch it. And maybe I'll hop in the comment box and throw my OBJ comparisons again, like I did the last time.
Listen, I'm telling you, I don't think you may see some stuff, because I don't know anything about the Madison team. But what I do know about this Buckeye Gray team is they've got big kids who are talented, and Edgewood has got some. They've got some kids coming up, and not just Edgewood. There are some kids from around the county that really deserve a shout out before we get off here this week. Some kids that have really separated themselves athletically, and all the kids who play are special. But they're some of the guys we've seen this year. JJ Dufour, fantastic, outstanding wide receiver at that level. Mason Khalil, great quarterback at that level. Troy Peterson's little brother, Hayden Peterson, nice little running back. Yeah, which is hilarious to me, because you got Troy, who is this monster of a man, and then you've got his brother, who's this shifty little running back. Lakeside over there, they've got Savion Chapman, who is absolutely out of this world as a running back. Then there's Jamero Spikes, and there's Anthony Sisicki, and the kids, it never stops. You got Drez Osborne, you've got Theron Osborne Jr. on Buckeye Gray. These guys, I'm telling you, the names go on and on and on. It's really, really worth taking a second and looking at these kids, because they put their whole heart and soul into this, and it shows. And these kids deserve, to feel special, and that's what we're trying to do. So if you aren't doing anything on Saturday, please take your time, tune in to 440 and Goal at 2:45 as we cover the varsity Buckeye Red versus the varsity Madison White for the Super Bowl. Going to be a great game, guys.
It's going to be awesome. That's going to be great, man.
I don't know about you, Tom, but I think I'm out of it here now, brother.
Yeah, man, I'm out of it.
You know what? Actually, we do need to. I apologize. We do need to send a shout out to our 440 and Goal Player of the Week sponsor, which is Made in Ohio. Made in Ohio. You're gonna want to keep stay tuned, because we've got some specials coming up that we're working with them for. But Made in Ohio, they make personalized T-shirts, sweaters, banners, whatever you want, they can do it. They take care of it. Some of the things that they offer are, a no minimum order. They have the fastest turnaround time, great pricing, wonderful customer service. And if you don't know what kind of work they do, they make all of our T-shirts for our players, as well as this. They made this. You see this stuff right here. This is high quality stuff. Go over to 1028 Bridge Street in the beautiful historic Ashtabula Harbor and see Bart and Made in Ohio. Get yourself, it's Christmas time is coming up, and there is no better gift than a personalized gift. They can do anything you want to. There are a lot of people out here whose schools no longer exist, Ashtabula and Harbor, and there is gear there for days. So those are the type of gifts that actually matter to people. Go over there and see them. Tell them, 440 and Goal sent you. We ain't going to give you anything yet. I don't know what's going on. I just want Bart to know that we're sending people his way, because he deserves it. He runs a great operation. He's taken care of us all season this year, and has taken care of these kids, which is more important than anything. He has been the official sponsor, and they have provided all these kids with T-shirts for their Player of the Week efforts every single week. Once again, Bart, thank you very much. And to everybody else who has, tuned in for us this year, thank you very much. We look forward to seeing you guys again on Friday, and then again on Saturday for some youth football. Youth football is the future football, so you want to pay attention.
Yes, you do.
All right, guys. I think that's going to do it for us.
Yeah. I think we're good, man. All right.
See you guys on Friday.
See ya.
Rebound taken by Iguodala. Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James. LeBron James with the rejection.
Cleveland, this is for you.
samurai in time. This is a sports octagon. Sports for forever and beyond. Spending with samurai in time. From the puck to the glove to the pigskins high. Share all of your thoughts, just let it ride. Down the baseline in the bleachers, or you wanna get denied. Yeah, share all of your thoughts, just let it ride. 4-4-0 and go. Come hit it, clench your soul. Yeah, it's 4-4-0 and go. Come hit it, clench your soul.
The Browns Super Bowl contenders.
Hey, listen, when we start talking about what wins Super Bowl, we talk about talent. The Browns, they have the talent. They have it.